Mr. Shippee, and with me is my daughter, who is retired, so she's old enough to be here, so she can work on it, too. But what we're here is to talk about what it was like in Raynham back in the 1940s. Long time ago, right? And we start off with lots of things, have lots of things, we have a few things to go and things like that. Number one, and for the boys, remember, I'm going to try and have something for you. The hardest thing in the world for somebody in our position to do is to get something to show boys. Do you know why? Because all of their toys were destroyed. Boys took them out in the yard and played with them. They beat them up, and they were not the fanciest ones. They didn't have plastic. They were wood. They were some metal and things like that. But I have pots for each of them, so you can see. The first one I like to start with is the picture we show up on the board. Does anybody know who she is? No?
Shirley Temple.
Shirley Temple, right. Shirley Temple, and that picture was in the newspaper in 1936. And that piece of paper that you're looking at was in 10 pieces before my daughter mounted them on a board and took it out and had it covered so we could have it so that you could see it. It just got destroyed by being shown to so many classes. Also, there's the doll of Shirley Temple. That is an original doll from 1935. And she had her hair combed, and she had her face fixed, and she had new elastics put in her a number of times and things like that. But that is a collector's item. That is probably worth good money for a doll. So that's where we start with Shirley Temple. Then we want to get back and talk about what it was like when we were when I was in the third grade. Now, just so you'll know, and so you can see if you know any arithmetic. If I was born in 1926, and this is 2016, how old am I?
80 or 90.
I didn't get the right answer that time.
90.
90, you're right. I'm in my 90th year. I'll be 90 a little later on this year. So that it was a long time ago. And you got to remember, back then, we didn't have everything you had. I've got to start with the fact that I was a twin. I had a twin brother. He passed away a few years ago. But this is a picture of us in a carriage with my sister standing by us on guard. And you'll notice there's two boys. The best part of this picture, and you can't see it, but both boys have a haircut, like most of the boys here. And that was a very new thing for us at the time this photo was taken. Because up until that time, if you'll notice, we still have on the pink smocks because boys were dressed like girls until they could run far to get away from their mother and wear long pants. But we had long curls. And we had a gentleman who was a friend of the family who took care of us on Thursdays when my mother went to the hairdressers and had her hair done. And he decided that we should be boys. So while Mother was at the hairdresser, unannounced, he took us to the barber shop. And we ended up with these haircuts. Of course, there was quite a riot when we got home, but we lived and we had our hair cut short every day since. So that took care of that. We lived in North Raynham. We lived over on Center Street. How many people here are from North Raynham? One or two of you. Yeah.
I was born on Center Street.
Good. Well, we lived over on Center Street with the grammar school right in our backyard. which we would go back and forth. We went home for lunch, and we did things like that. So it was quite easy for us. My wife lived in Raynham Center, and she couldn't go home for lunch. And just to show what it's like, here's her lunchbox. It's like a regular lunchbox. It had a thermos in it at one time, which is long gone, but you can understand that. And that was the way. Now, what they did for lunch, and she was at the center school. Now, stop and remember, I don't know how many students there are in this school. I haven't counted them all. But when I went to the North Raynham Grammar School, there were 4 rooms. If you went to the center school, there were 4 rooms. If you went to the south school, there were 4 rooms. But there were 8 classes in each building. In other words, the 1st and 2nd grade were in the same room. 3rd and 4th were in the same room. Then 5th and 6th, and then 7th and 8th. And after you finished 8 grades at the North Raynham Grammar School, they sent you to Taunton High. And you talk about something that's different, to go from a little school that had just everybody doubled up like that to all of a sudden you're in a class. My graduating class from Taunton High was 225 approximately, because most of them had gone to war anyway, but some of them had gone to war. So that's the part of that part of how it started. There are other things I like to speak about. Does anybody, fucking anybody, tell me what these are?
Wires?
No, they're heavy. What are they?
Pliers?
No, oh, what are you? That would hurt. Why?
Like back in the day, in the middle was hot, we like use that to pick it up.
Pick up what? No.
Scissors?
No. No. Ice. In our day, the Iceman came to the house once a week, and he brought a block of ice. And how did you get a block of ice in your house? Well, it was really simple. He went down the road originally with a wagon full of ice. And he didn't pull up in front of your house and run up to the door and say, how big a piece of ice do you need? What you did was, the lady of the house would take a card and she'd put it in the window. If it said 5 on the top, she wanted a 5-cent piece of ice. If she wanted a 10-cent piece of ice, she put the 10 cents up. So he could look from the road, see the card, and he didn't have to make an extra trip. He just went in with the piece of ice that you ordered from the card. Now that's pretty easy, because think of how much time he saved going in and out of a house just to find out, A, do you want any, and B, what size do you want? And so he would then take the ice, and he'd have it in his wagon. He'd take his ice pick and cut a piece off, grab a hold of it, and pick it up. And usually, they had a leather apron over their shoulder, and they'd pick up the piece of ice, and they'd put it up there. And they'd carry it in the house, and you'd go to the ice box. Now, that's not a refrigerator. That's a wooden box, lined with metal and insulated. You picked up the top and dropped the ice in. That's just part of it, because of course you know that what happens to ice when it melts? Water, right? What happens to the water? It goes down through a hose or a pipe, usually to a pan under the refrigerator, which you better remember to empty every day, or you're going to have water all over the floor. In some cases, you can do it with a funnel and drill a hole in the floor and put it in that. So that's what those are. Now, the other thing I have that is kind of housekeeping are these 3 bottles. breaks, doesn't it? Looks like the ice cream milk bottle, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It is a milk bottle. It's a quart milk bottle. And this quart milk bottle is the large size that you could get. You could then get a pint or a half pint. And if you look at the top of them, there's a spot in here that took a cardboard cover. Now I want to tell you how we got our milk. And of course, let's face it, it was raw milk, right out of the cow. We used to go up to a farm up on Broadway, Mr. Lincoln's farm, and in it was a big tank holding all of his milk. And you could go in, and we had 6 bottles in a rack at our family. We went up every day. And we'd take those, had to wash them at home and clean them out and make sure they were ready at home. Then you'd go up and you'd dip the milk in so it was full, put in a cart, the stopper, and take it home. That's how you got your milk. You didn't go to the store. The best part of it was in those days, now you've got to remember we're still talking that Depression. That bottle of milk cost 10 cents. That's what we paid for our milk when we went after it. So that was that part of it. Okay? Anybody figure that all out now? So where we got it, how we did it? Okay. Then the other things we have that show other pictures of things are, these are toys that my wife had. Now this toy is still made today. And yet this one is 80 years old. And it's the same as the one they make today. You can plug it in and it heated. And you'll notice that the cord was cut off, so there's no cord on the water end of it now, so that you couldn't do it anymore, because you got burned quite regularly when you played with it. So that was taken, and the new ones today have some kind of a heating system in them too. At the same time, my wife had an iron, just like her mother's, with an electric cord plugged in and it worked. This was a toy, and it's heavy. It's just like a regular iron. You can iron with it, just like this was her toy. So that was that part. The other thing that you have, I don't know how much time you're spending right now on printing and writing, but in our day, we did nothing but cursive. We weren't allowed to print. If you printed your name, you might get thrown out of school because the teachers didn't like it in those days. So there are some papers up here showing the progression of handwriting that they had and some of the exercises that they had with some of the others. Okay, a little bit mixed up, but that's all right. The wooden toys, if you look, there's a boat and an airplane and another boat and a few other things. And these are things that my wife made. She had her own jackknife, just like all the boys had. All boys had jackknives. And we made boats and we whittled them out and took them and floated them. My daughter can tell the story. I believe she was one of the ones that when we lived in Maine, Senator Margaret Chase Smith, who was a federal senator, had a general who was her aide. And Margaret Chase Smith, her aide, and 3 of my kids were sitting in the ocean, in the shallow water, with a paddle boat going back and forth around between them.
That was made out of a shingle and rubber band.
Yeah. The shingle, you cut a shingle, you put a paddle in it, and you wind it up, and it works like a boat. But they made these things themselves. We made them ourselves. We did all of that. I want to talk about that, how much we did, how much was different. The biggest difference I found is like with clothing. If you need a new shirt or a new pair of shorts, your mother runs down to Walmart, Kmart, or someplace else and buys them at a good price. In the olden days, they made most of the clothing. Now, I had an aunt, my father's older sister, who did sewing. And now I told you I was a twin. And she would make all of our overcoats, winter clothing, and everything like that. And she not only made them all, she did most of them by hand sewing without a sewing machine, because she didn't have one most of the time. But she had 2 boys to fit. And she needed a pattern. And if she needed a pattern for me, she'd say, okay, Norman, you're first. And she would get a ball of red yarn, and she'd measure from my wrist to my shoulder and tie a knot. She'd measure across my shoulders, tie another knot. She'd go up and down and tie another knot. She'd go around you and tie another. That piece of string became her pattern for laying out and cutting clothes. And then, because there were 2 of us, it wouldn't do to have one size fits all. She'd take a blue hunk of yarn and go to my brother and do the same thing. She'd get his size exactly. So every coat was made to fit the person. And there are pictures of us here, and I think if we pass it around, I'll show it around in a minute. But these are pictures of us with that type of coat on, and the hats she made also. The other thing I have on the other side of this, just so you'll know, and I'll try and get it so you can see it. This is my graduating class in 1940. That's how many there were in the class graduating from North Raynham.
8th grade.
8th grade. Excuse me. Graduating from the 8th grade. This picture here shows 4 teachers. You'll notice they all have high heels, long dresses, and stern looks. That's the politest way to put it. And they were the 4 teachers. One teacher would do 1 and 2, another one would do 3 and 4, and that's the way it went through the school. The principal was always the person who had the 7th and 8th grade. I don't know whether she was supposed to be the smartest. I know she was the toughest. That's all I can tell you. So that's part of it, and that's what went through the school. I also, in the same picture, it shows my family by a 1932 Nash, I think, was a family picture. But I can tell you, if anybody has ever been to Foxwood, they went right by that house because it's right in front of the fire department, across the street from the fire department when you went into Foxwood. So that's where it's in Stonington, Connecticut. So that's the other picture. This is the that's right, yeah. And then I have another one over here. This is another picture of a set of pictures. I'll pass it from the other side. Shows my wife at approximately the 3rd grade and the places where she lived. Now she lived, how do I say it? I can't tell you where right now at the moment.
Oh, on South Street.
South Street, yeah.
Near Shaw's.
It's back at Shaw's, so that's part of it. But also you'll see she's sitting on a pony. People used to come around with a pony and charge you a nickel or a dime to take a picture of you sitting on it. Yes.
Was that house white?
Yeah, that one.
And it's yellow now.
Yeah, it's yellow now. I think. Yeah. But these you can get. These will just show some of the things that are around there. Just slide it down, pass it down, and just take a quick look and see what. So you'll see what they're doing. Now. The other thing, it's a little later than the 3rd grade, but I have to bring it up because these are the things that happened in our day. I have with me an aluminum frying pan with my name in the bottom of it. It says Troop 1, Raynham, Mass. Troop 1. I don't know what the number of the troop is now, 89 or something like that. But I mean, this is the original. The funniest part of this is that my wife's uncle worked at the foundry. And he was a friend of my father's. And my father asked him to make a frying pan for both myself and my brother. So this is what we ended up with, an aluminum frying. Believe me, he didn't want to hold the handle when he used it. Because they were kids. But you could figure out it's been used, as you can see. But that's part of what it is. But that was made because you couldn't go buy them. You couldn't go to a store and buy one for a Boy Scout. You had to get them any way you could. And this is the way we got ours. Okay. Anybody else? If you got any questions? I know I've gone round and round. Question 1. How do I what? How do you make the things with wood? Oh, you don't want to ask me that. Did I make everything? Wood is easy. Wood is the nicest working project there is. With a chain, we used to be able to get wooden shingles. Half of those are made out of wooden shingles. We just had the copper going on. I'll give you an idea of this. One of the things that I was talking about, there's 2 things I got to do. One is I got to show something. And I said I had something else for the boys. I have a small model here. And this is, now remember I said I was born in 1926. This is a 1930 Model A Ford. And we talk about cars that have all the modern inconveniences. It didn't have anything automatic, believe me. When you folded the top down, you did it manually. You pushed it down into the back. But it had something the cars don't have. It had a rumble seat. You opened up the back, and you could sit in the back. That's where the other 2 passengers went. My story on this, before I'll get questions in a minute. My story on this is what my wife and I went on our honeymoon in 1948. That was our car. We went all over Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. But that's what it looked like. Okay? Now, somebody got some questions. I saw it. Okay?
Why did you have to use the little heat over the lighthouse?
He asked why that white house is now yellow house. Because
They changed the color.
yeah, they moved away from it a long time ago, and
Yeah, that
somebody
was
else painted it.
many years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
I
think,
guess.
do you think this scooter over there is really hard to ride?
Okay, I didn't say anything about the studio. No, I'm sorry, I missed it. And that's the reason is I haven't thought about it too much. This scooter I was just asked about is from the era of 1930. And this one I found in my in-laws' chicken coop when we were cleaning it out. And it had been run over by an automobile. It was like this, you know. I put it back together as best I could. But I can't buy tires for it. That is, I've gone all over the internet and everything else, and they don't make this kind of tire anymore. But if I had new tires, it would work. This is the original skateboard. Right? It had a handle so you could steer it. Right? It also had a foot brake on the back wheel that you could slow it down with. And it was a means of transportation. Today you use skateboards and the new powered boards that they have. This is where it all started. The doll carriage is an original from 36. This one was made me. My wife had a relative who hadn't enough money to buy it. Are we done with time? How are we doing on time? Are we supposed to be out of here?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay. But the doll carriage is an original. The top is supposed to go up and down, but the fabric is pretty well shot, so I don't try to do it. But the carriage still works, and we still power to keep the stuff in. So that went with Shirley. This is my wife's carriage for Shirley. I'll give you a couple more questions.
My sister watched all the Shirley Temple movies and I played on my iPad while she was doing it.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people do. But stop and think. Shirley Temple was a movie star. But what else did she do in her life? And you might have heard some of it. When she finished up, she worked for G.W. Bush at the White House and was his secretary for all of the affairs that took place at the White House. She ran everything. That's where she worked. Okay, quick questions over here.
In the picture where you got
You got to look at me and talk to me.
in the picture where you got the haircut, when was that?
I didn't get it all.
The picture with the haircut,
Yeah.
when was that teaching? What old year was that?
Oh, Lord, that was done when we were not quite two. 28 or 29, yeah. 1928 or 29, yeah. What's that? Say it loud enough so I can hear. I can hear.
The drink, Shirley Temple, the drink.
No, we got everything but.
That's where it got its name.
Yeah, exactly.
Shirley Temple has been, she goes to the doll sanctuary about every 2 years. They do elastics and a few other things.
What's up, Mike? What's important about Shirley Temple?
What's important about her? The fact that she was a little girl and she danced and she sang and she did a lot in movies with different people. One of them was she had a dancing partner who at that time was one of the best in the world, and she learned how to dance from him, and she became a very important person in the movie industry. She made a lot of money. That's what's important about her. I guess I'd say that.
And when she was doing all the movies that she did, they were always happy movies. They had a story. And the people in the country weren't very happy during that period of time. It was a hard time. So she brought a lot of light into people's lives. Annie's later.
Yeah. Okay, that's about it, I guess.
What do you guys say?
I got those. Welcome.